and A Little Child ***** and A Little Child by Marcia Kamien. Only on Mars could children such as these walk proudly under the stars. How ungrateful seemed their bitter hatred of their teachers. Transcriber's note: this text was produced from Fantastic Universe, September 1954. Extensive research did not uncover any evidence that the U.S. copyright on this publication was renewed. Marcia Kamien is new to science fiction. It is not often that a story of such brilliance arrives on our desk unsolicited, and our surprise was even greater when the author informed us in an accompanying letter she wasn't quite sure we'd buy it. We are afraid she just does not understand editors. We know quite a few, and they all agree that there are stories which would never stay forever, clipped to a rejection slip. On the last day of school, Professor Dayton looked with pleasure at his class. Fine men and women, all of them. If, the professor amended silently, one could call them men and women. He, himself, preferred their new name, Martians. They sat in front of him, ranged in rows, 20-year-olds stirring restlessly in their seats, as thousands of generations of pupils had done before them. Only this classroom was a bit different. In the first place, Professor Dayton sat under a small glass dome with a dashboard of dials and meters directly at his elbow. His class, on the other hand, sat in the open air. Now and then a head turned to gaze through one of the windows at the dull, brick-colored desert land outside, the low, gently rolling hills that quietly told the story of Mars' long and ancient past. "Today is your last day of class," Professor Dayton said into the portable microphone. "You have been good students, all of you, a credit to your Mother Earth. Now, I should like to," he stopped abruptly. One of the young men was standing, waving him to silence. Dayton knew him well, a bright, eager youngster who called himself Ba. All of the others turned their faces to him as to a natural leader. Leader? Dayton felt a shiver of apprehension. How long had he half expected this? Since the day, 7 years before, when they had all changed their names. Or even earlier, when they had begun to notice. He stared out, directly at Ba, keeping his face expressionless. "We're powerless," he thought, "powerless against them." Ba was 6 feet and 8 inches tall, and his height was not unusual in his group. His skin had been burnt through the years by an unhampered Mars sun to a russet brown, and out of the saddle color, his blue eyes gleamed like sapphires. Ba was broad, broader than any man had ever been, with a huge rib cage to take in the thin air of Mars. Around his waist was fastened a one-piece garment of lightweight cloth which was his costume night and day, for Ba, like the others now gazing up at him almost in adoration, had a thick layer of skin that hardly felt the piercing cold of a Martian night. Thinking of this, Dayton shivered a little in his warm woolen robes. For the 100th time, Dayton told himself, "We did too good a job." He was thinking of the master plan that had made a new race of Martians out of ordinary Earth children, the plan which had started 20 years before. Dayton had looked at the 53 babies 2 decades before with mixed emotions of hope and fear, sharing the misgivings that had plagued the other scientists and teachers. It had been a daring idea, this patient dream that was now reaching fulfillment. First, the babies would have to become accustomed gradually to the thin atmosphere and lower gravity of Mars. Then, as adults, they would be able to march at will over the planet, breathing freely. Dayton's immediate superior, Dr. L. High of evolutionary biogenetics, had voiced the half-felt sentiment, as the two of them, so long ago, had watched the young children crawling in their elaborately constructed playpen of glass. The dial on the outside showed that the infants were receiving only a small percentage less oxygen than was normally found on Earth. The dial also pointed to a temperature of 58 degrees, comfortable but cool for such young children. "Look at them," El High said proudly. "They hardly know the difference. In 3 months, with a gesture toward the dials, a bit lower temperature, a bit thinner air. Slowly they will develop until they will be completely free of our prison. And they will build Mars." Dayton gazed around him at the flat countryside and the time-eroded mountains some 500 miles distant, looming so clearly in the thin air they seemed barely 50 feet away. For acre upon acre, the flat land was unbroken, save by scrubs of a dingy greenish-blue hue and the ever-present crawling, red-tinged lichen. Not far from where the two scientists stood, there were 3 large plexiglass bubbles, filled with oxygen, greenhouses containing vegetables, fruit, and stored protein foods. But what drew Dayton's eye and interest more than anything else was far off. In the distance, one could discern the outlines of a half-toppled building, its crumbling contours jagged against the deep blue sky. It was an old building of the dead Martians, the Martians who had embellished their civilization with huge, ornately carved stones, and then had died, leaving only the enormous blocks behind on a desolate wasteland as mute testimony that once they had lived proudly. "Our children will rebuild Mars," Dayton murmured to his colleague. "They will pick up that torch, and rekindle it." Dr. L. High shrugged the thought away. He cared little for the extinct generations of Martians, only for the new one, budding carefully under the hands of Earth science. And then the air in their head-covering plastic bubbles had run short, and they had returned clumsily in the vague and always alien atmosphere toward their bubble home, where the generators made air that was always fresh and breathable. And now here was Ba, one of those babies grown, burnt by an alien sun, and an alien defiance. "We did much too good a job," the professor thought again, and waited for the young man to speak. "You're looking at me," Ba boomed. He didn't need a microphone, his resonant voice carried easily. "I'm different from you now, aren't I, Professor?" He didn't wait for an answer. "Yes, I'm different. We're all different. We can breathe this air while you must stay in your domes. We are strong and big. You, and all your kind, are weak and puny. You made one mistake, Professor Dayton. You carefully nurtured us, 53 kids, so that we could breathe and walk on Mars as free men. You did it, Professor, and it was a marvelous job. But now, esteemed Professor, we want to be free. We don't want to walk on our planet for Earthlings. We are Martians. There was a murmur of assent from the others. We are bronze-skinned Martians, Bar went on. And Mars is ours, by all rights. Earth may be our mother, but Mars is our father. And, like all good sons, we stay with our father. A cheer went up, and again Dayton shivered. His mind flashed back, and for the second time he asked himself, how long have I half expected this? The children were all 7.5 years old, and they had made remarkable progress. 1 month earlier, they had been taken out of their air bubbles. All the scientists had watched them with trepidation, but nothing had gone wrong. The children had not even noticed the difference. Their little lungs had already swelled, and they inhaled and exhaled the vague air as they might have inhaled the normal air on Earth. They were still bundled tightly against the cold, but, for the first time, they were permitted to run around. They could actually run. They didn't leap and spring like so many pogo sticks, as did the older men. They ran, they played, and the heavy little muscles in their young legs held them down. Around them were always 3 men, supervising. Dayton was one of the supervisors that day. Bar was the ringleader, only then his name had been David Lombardi. He was a sharp one, the first to discover that they could outrun, outleap, outmaneuver their elders. Catch me, he taunted Dayton, evading the latter's grip at every turn. Catch me, if you can. And the others took it up, laughing and screaming and running helter-skelter. Dayton had forgotten all the others. David Lombardi was his nemesis, and he must catch him. He raced across the dry-baked ground after the little boy, red with frustration and exertion. At last he had clutched the little shoulder, and without rational thought, had shaken the boy, his eyes clouded with rage, biting back the words that threatened to pour out. Damn them! Damn this boy, in particular. When did he discover? How will we ever keep them under control? They're so young, such kids, to have so much power over us. We might have known this would happen. Then David Lombardi had looked up at the anger-ridden features of his teacher. Bubblehead, he laughed, pointing to the globe which held Dayton's air. Bubblehead. The other children had picked up the cruel name immediately. Like all 7-year-olds, they had little sense of kindness in them. They were just young animals. But they knew, then, that they had an advantage. They knew they could breathe where Dayton and the others never could, and never would. By punishment, the scientists had managed to repress the name of Bubblehead. It had never been uttered outright since that day. But, always, Dayton felt that the growing children remembered, and remembered clearly. Was it since that day? Or was it since the day when, at age 13, David Lombardi had walked up to him and said, "We look different. We talk different. You wanted us to be different, didn't you? Yes, David, that's true. Even then, Dayton had felt a tremor of something half expected, half feared. Why? Well, then, you can't expect us to have the same names as all of you. We want our own names, different from any others. Dayton paused, gazing out at the boy's earnest face. At 13, he seemed to recall from some psychology book, all children liked to live in a make-believe world. Here was a make-believe world come true for David Lombardi and his mates. Why not let them change their names? Would it hurt? Very well though, what is your name now? The boy's mouth had curved in a knowing smile. Ba. That's my name. You call me Ba. Professor. The last word came almost as an afterthought. Then, Ba had turned and walked out, still smiling secretly. Yes, I knew then, Dayton thought. I knew that day that no matter how much they grew up, they would never change their names back again. Yet, they must be taught only so much at a time. He could not be impatient, he must not ask the bar point blank. And since then, every day he had waited for this day, for what he knew must happen, and what must not happen. All right, Bar, what is it you want? He said aloud. A bare minute had passed since the cheer had gone up, had shivered in the cool air, and had died quietly in the corners of the large room. Bar's voice was triumphant, and his chest swelled as he spoke. It's good you feel that way, Professor, because we knew we would win. We want no more of you puny earthlings. We want no more of your science that thinks it knows all, yet cannot even walk without a bubble on its head. We want no more of teachers who teach, yet cannot run without bouncing into the air like mountain goats. You have given us all you can, now you only take away. Go, get out, go away from Mars where no one belongs but us. Go home, Earthman. Go home, Earthman. The shout from 53 throats was almost deafening. And if you don't, Bar shouted above the din, we'll destroy all your domes, and you'll die like the fish out of water that you are. So get out, go, and leave us to raise future generations of real Martians. Mars for the Martians. Mars for the Martians, echoed the other voices, the amplified shouts swelling out the windows into the red desert. Dayton felt only dull shock. He had known so well. Almost as if he had written a 20-year-long script, and now the final lines were being spoken at last. Still, there was much he must say before they left. Wait a little, Bar. We'll leave, but first there are many things you should know, Professor. Go now. A mighty fist doubled, and a large dark brown finger pointed out the window. The professor followed the finger's direction with his eyes, until they lighted upon the slim bullet-shaped ship in the near distance, the spaceship, Albatross, lying securely berthed in a hammock of sand that shimmered eerily in the clashing sunlight. That night, the 53 Martians herded their former teachers into the Albatross. The scientists stood at the video screen in the nose of the ship, and watched the greenhouses, the ranches, the home dwellings, all the marks of Earth, being wrecked with fiery precision. Then, their beloved charts, the carefully written notes, the photograph albums, everything that told of the slow growth of 53 Earthling babies to huge-chested Martians, all these, piled in a heap, to be ignited. Someone, Dayton thought, took the torch and threw it on the paper. In the clear cold air, the books took fire slowly, tiny blue flames licking up through them, and then, suddenly, a brief, intense glare of red and orange and yellow. In the firelight, the brown faces looked almost savage. The pilot shrugged his shoulders. "There'll be a war in 25 years," he said. "No," Dayton said softly, and behind him, the others nodded silently. "We have no need to worry." The pilot looked at him strangely, then shrugged. "Ah well, he had a job, to get them home and warn the Earth government." The silver ship took off with hardly a sound from the dim sands of Mars. In 3 minutes, it was a tiny star, flickering in the skies with billions of other winking pinpoints of light. And down below, the new, self-appointed citizens of Mars danced around the still glowing ashes of their history. Dayton got the interspace call 5 years later. He knew what it was. He had awaited it with the same patience and silence with which he had awaited Bar's speech on Mars. It was Bar, of course, and his voice, though loud, had lost its fiery timbre. "Professor," he began. "Never mind, I know," Dayton said quietly. "You bred, didn't you? And you found out what I could have told you, had you not been so young, so impatient. It was suicide to destroy those domes. Oh, Bah, what a pity. To delude yourselves into thinking that we, mere scientists, mere men, could create a brand new race. Bah, we merely trained you and adapted you to your environment. We know that now. Your wives gave birth. But the babies were white and weak and thin-chested. They were Earth babies, just as you are really made-over Earthmen. And the babies choked. And they died." It was a whisper. "Yes. They died." The professor almost smiled. "And, now, Bah, we are still children. We need our mother. Will you forgive us and come back?" Bah said humbly. Now Dayton smiled openly. "Leave the creating of races to God, Bah. Yes, we'll come back. A mother always goes back to care for her wayward children." He cut off, then, and eagerly began punching buttons which would summon them all back. Back to teach another generation of Martians. ***** End of the Project Gutenberg ebook and a little child ***** Updated editions will replace the previous one, the old editions will be renamed. Creating the works from print editions not protected by U.S. copyright law means that no one owns a United States copyright in these works, so the Foundation, and you, can copy and distribute it in the United States without permission and without paying copyright royalties. Special rules, set forth in the general terms of use part of this license, apply to copying and distributing Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol concept and trademark. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark, and may not be used if you charge for an ebook, except by following the terms of the trademark license, including paying royalties for use of the Project Gutenberg trademark. If you do not charge anything for copies of this ebook, complying with the trademark license is very easy. You may use this ebook for nearly any purpose, such as creation of derivative works, reports, performances and research. Project Gutenberg ebooks may be modified and printed and given away. You may do practically anything in the United States with ebooks not protected by U.S. copyright law. Redistribution is subject to the trademark license, especially commercial redistribution. Start. Full license. The full Project Gutenberg license. Please read this before you distribute or use this work to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol mission of promoting the free distribution of electronic works. By using or distributing this work, or any other work associated in any way with the phrase Project Gutenberg, you agree to comply with all the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license available with this file or online at www.gutenberg.org/license. Section 1. General Terms of Use and Redistributing Project Gutenberg Trademark Symbol Electronic Works 1.0. By reading or using any part of this Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work, you indicate that you have read, understand, agree to and accept all the terms of this license and intellectual property, trademark/copyright, agreement. If you do not agree to abide by all the terms of this agreement, you must cease using and return or destroy all copies of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works in your possession. If you paid a fee for obtaining a copy of or access to a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work and you do not agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement, you may obtain a refund from the person or entity to whom you paid the fee as set forth in paragraph 1.e.8. 1.b. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark. It may only be used on or associated in any way with an electronic work by people who agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement. There are a few things that you can do with most Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works even without complying with the full terms of this agreement. See paragraph 1.c below. There are a lot of things you can do with Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works if you follow the terms of this agreement and help preserve free future access to Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works. See paragraph 1.e below. 1.c. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the Foundation or PGLAF, owns a compilation copyright in the collection of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works. Nearly all the individual works in the collection are in the public domain in the United States. If an individual work is unprotected by copyright law in the United States and you are located in the United States, we do not claim a right to prevent you from copying, distributing, performing, displaying or creating derivative works based on the work as long as all references to Project Gutenberg are removed. Of course, we hope that you will support the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol mission of promoting free access to electronic works by freely sharing Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works in compliance with the terms of this agreement for keeping the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol name associated with the work. You can easily comply with the terms of this agreement by keeping this work in the same format with its attached full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license when you share it without charge with others. 1.d. The copyright laws of the place where you are located also govern what you can do with this work. Copyright laws in most countries are in a constant state of change. If you are outside the United States, check the laws of your country in addition to the terms of this agreement before downloading, copying, displaying, performing, distributing or creating derivative works based on this work or any other Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work. The Foundation makes no representations concerning the copyright status of any work in any country other than the United States. 1.e Unless you have removed all references to Project Gutenberg, 1.e.1. The following sentence, with active links to, or other immediate access to, the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license must appear prominently whenever any copy of a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work, any work on which the phrase Project Gutenberg appears, or with which the phrase Project Gutenberg is associated, is accessed, displayed, performed, viewed, copied or distributed. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. 1.e.2. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work is derived from texts not protected by U.S. copyright law, does not contain a notice indicating that it is posted with permission of the copyright holder, the work can be copied and distributed to anyone in the United States without paying any fees or charges. If you are redistributing or providing access to a work with the phrase Project Gutenberg associated with or appearing on the work, you must comply either with the requirements of paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 or obtain permission for the use of the work and the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark as set forth in paragraphs 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.3. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work is posted with the permission of the copyright holder, your use and distribution must comply with both paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 and any additional terms imposed by the copyright holder. Additional terms will be linked to the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license for all works posted with the permission of the copyright holder found at the beginning of this work. 1.e.4 Do not unlink or detach or remove the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license terms from this work, or any files containing a part of this work or any other work associated with Project Gutenberg trademark symbol. 1.e.5 Do not copy, display, perform, distribute or redistribute this electronic work, or any part of this electronic work, without prominently displaying the sentence set forth in paragraph 1.e.1 with active links or immediate access to the full terms of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license. 1.e.6 You may convert to and distribute this work in any binary, compressed, marked up, non-proprietary or proprietary form, including any word processing or hypertext form. However, if you provide access to or distribute copies of a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work in a format other than plain vanilla ASCII or other format used in the official version posted on the official Project Gutenberg trademark symbol website, www.gutenberg.org, you must, at no additional cost, fee or expense to the user, provide a copy, a means of exporting a copy, or a means of obtaining a copy upon request, of the work in its original plain vanilla ASCII or other form. Any alternate format must include the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license as specified in paragraph 1.e.1. 1.e.7 Do not charge a fee for access to, viewing, displaying, performing, copying or distributing any Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works unless you comply with paragraph 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.8 You may charge a reasonable fee for copies of or providing access to or distributing Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works provided that you pay a royalty fee of 20% of the gross profits you derive from the use of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works calculated using the method you already use to calculate your applicable taxes. The fee is owed to the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark, but he has agreed to donate royalties under this paragraph to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Royalty payments must be paid within 60 days following each date on which you prepare, or are legally required to prepare, your periodic tax returns. Royalty payments should be clearly marked as such and sent to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation at the address specified in Section 4, Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. You provide a full refund of any money paid by a user who notifies you in writing, or by email, within 30 days of receipt that he does not agree to the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark symbol license. You must require such a user to return or destroy all copies of the works possessed in a physical medium and discontinue all use of and all access to other copies of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works. You provide, in accordance with paragraph 1.f.3, a full refund of any money paid for a work or a replacement copy, If a defect in the electronic work is discovered and reported to you within 90 days of receipt of the work, you comply with all other terms of this agreement for free distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol works. 1.e.9. If you wish to charge a fee or distribute a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work or group of works on different terms than are set forth in this agreement, you must obtain permission in writing from the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the manager of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark. Contact the Foundation as set forth in Section 3 below. 1.f1.f.1 Project Gutenberg volunteers and employees expend considerable effort to identify, do copyright research on, transcribe and proofread works not protected by U.S. copyright law in creating the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol collection. Despite these efforts, Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works, and the medium on which they may be stored, may contain defects such as, but not limited to, incomplete, inaccurate or corrupt data, transcription errors, a copyright or other intellectual property infringement, a defective or damaged disk or other medium, a computer virus, or computer codes that damage or cannot be read by your equipment. 1.f.2 Limited warranty, disclaimer of damages, except for the right of replacement or refund described in paragraph 1.f.3, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol trademark, and any other party distributing a Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic work under this agreement, disclaim all liability to you for damages, costs and expenses, including legal fees. You agree that you have no remedies for negligence, strict liability, breach of warranty or breach of contract except those provided in paragraph 1.f.3. You agree that the Foundation, the trademark owner, and any distributor under this agreement will not be liable to you for actual, direct, indirect, consequential, punitive or incidental damages even if you give notice of the possibility of such damage. 1.f.3 Limited right of replacement or refund. If you discover a defect in this electronic work within 90 days of receiving it, you can receive a refund of the money, if any, you paid for it by sending a written explanation to the person you received the work from. If you received the work on a physical medium, you must return the medium with your written explanation. The person or entity that provided you with the defective work may elect to provide a replacement copy in lieu of a refund. If you received the work electronically, the person or entity providing it to you may choose to give you a second opportunity to receive the work electronically in lieu of a refund. If the second copy is also defective, you may demand a refund in writing without further opportunities to fix the problem. 1.f.4 Except for the limited right of replacement or refund set forth in paragraph 1.f.3, this work is provided to you as is, with no other warranties of any kind, express or implied, including but not limited to warranties of merchantability or fitness for any purpose. 1.f.5 Some states do not allow disclaimers of certain implied warranties or the exclusion or limitation of certain types of damages. If any disclaimer or limitation set forth in this agreement violates the law of the state applicable to this agreement, the agreement shall be interpreted to make the maximum disclaimer or limitation permitted by the applicable state law. The invalidity or unenforceability of any provision of this agreement shall not void the remaining provisions. 1.f.6 Indemnity. You agree to indemnify and hold the foundation, the trademark owner, any agent or employee of the foundation, anyone providing copies of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works in accordance with this agreement, and any volunteers associated with the production, promotion and distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works, harmless from all liability, costs and expenses, including legal fees, that arise directly or indirectly from any of the following which you do or cause to occur. A. Distribution of this or any Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work. B. Alteration, modification, or additions or deletions to any Project Gutenberg trademark symbol work, and C. Any defect you cause. Section 2. Information about the mission of Project Gutenberg trademark symbol. Project Gutenberg trademark symbol is synonymous with the free distribution of electronic works in formats readable by the widest variety of computers, including obsolete, old, middle-aged and new computers. It exists because of the efforts of hundreds of volunteers and donations from people in all walks of life. Volunteers and financial support to provide volunteers with the assistance they need are critical to reaching Project Gutenberg trademark symbol's goals and ensuring that the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol collection will remain freely available for generations to come. In 2001, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation was created to provide a secure and permanent future for Project Gutenberg trademark symbol and future generations. To learn more about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation and how your efforts and donations can help, see sections 3 and 4 and the Foundation information page at www.gutenberg.org. Section 3. Information about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation is a non-profit 501(c)(3) educational corporation organized under the laws of the state of Mississippi and granted tax-exempt status by the Internal Revenue Service. The Foundation's IN or Federal Tax Identification Number is 64-6221541. Contributions to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation are tax-deductible to the full extent permitted by U.S. federal laws and your state's laws. The Foundation's business office is located at 809 North 1500 West, Salt Lake City, UT 84116. 801-596-1887. Email contact links and up-to-date contact information can be found at the Foundation's website and official page at www.gutenberg.org/contact section 4. Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Project Gutenberg trademark symbol depends upon and cannot survive without widespread public support and donations to carry out its mission of increasing the number of public domain and licensed works that can be freely distributed in machine-readable form accessible by the widest array of equipment including outdated equipment. Many small donations, $1 to $5,000, are particularly important to maintaining tax-exempt status with the IRS. The Foundation is committed to complying with the laws regulating charities and charitable donations in all 50 states of the United States. Compliance requirements are not uniform and it takes a considerable effort, much paperwork and many fees to meet and keep up with these requirements. We do not solicit donations in locations where we have not received written confirmation of compliance. To send donations or determine the status of compliance for any particular state, visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. While we cannot and do not solicit contributions from states where we have not met the solicitation requirements, we know of no prohibition against accepting unsolicited donations from donors in such states who approach us with offers to donate. International donations are gratefully accepted, but we cannot make any statements concerning tax treatment of donations received from outside the United States. U.S. laws alone swamp our small staff. Please check the Project Gutenberg web pages for current donation methods and addresses. Donations are accepted in a number of other ways including checks, online payments and credit card donations. To donate, please visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. Section 5. General information about Project Gutenberg trademark symbol electronic works. Professor Michael S. Hart was the originator of the Project Gutenberg trademark symbol concept of a library of electronic works that could be freely shared with anyone. For 40 years, he produced and distributed Project Gutenberg trademark symbol ebooks with only a loose network of volunteer support. Project Gutenberg trademark symbol ebooks are often created from several printed editions, all of which are confirmed as not protected by copyright in the US unless a copyright notice is included. Thus, we do not necessarily keep ebooks in compliance with any particular paper edition. Most people start at our website, which has the main PG search facility, www.gutenberg.org. This website includes information about Project Gutenberg trademark symbol, including how to make donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, how to help produce our new ebooks, and how to subscribe to our email newsletter to hear about new ebooks.